Hello, boys and girls. So, I wanted to read you one of my favorite stories today that has a lot to do with kindness. It's called Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll. And the reason I like this story so much is because it involves two things that are very important to me. And one is being kind, and the other is not giving up and just keep trying your best no matter what. And you're going to see in the story that some of the characters are very kind and that they don't give up on somebody. And you're also going to see in the story, while I'm reading, if you want to look, that there is a little ladybug on every page. So you can check for that ladybug while I'm reading the story. See if you can find her. Her name is Bria. Find her on every page, okay? All right, let's listen to this story.
Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll, written by Jay Maletsky and illustrated by Aaron Wozniak. Over the lake and out past the bay was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top to take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. There was Kip, Pip, and Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older, and a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. There are the pebbles. Kai was a meteorite, and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but taken for granite. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Lessie had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. And there's Parker the clown who says, "How do you make a tissue dance?" And Ebert says, "Seriously?" And Lessie says, "You put a little boogie in it." Pretty funny. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball. And because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass, past the lake, up and over the knoll. And a knoll is just another name for a hill. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, Rick couldn't roll because one side was flat. And there's Ebert. What part of this is supposed to be fun? So poor Ricky can't roll because one side of him is flat. His friends didn't get it. "Come roll," they would chant. So Ricky tried, but replied, "I'm sorry, I can't." But the rocks were determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way to the hill's grassy peak. So big, strong Marvin put him up at the top of the hill. Then he pushed him downhill, yelling, "Keep rolling, kid!" But Rick didn't roll. He just kind of slid. This feels like a bad idea. Well, the rocks weren't done, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. "This will work," they announced. But Rick still couldn't roll. Now he just sort of bounced. No good, no good, no good! Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying every which way to get Rick to roll, but by the end of the day, nothing had worked, just like Rick expected, and he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There just isn't a way. So I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play." So he's feeling very sad, depressed and dejected, meaning he's feeling very sad and upset, like it's not even worth trying anymore. But his friends wouldn't quit. "We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another." So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit that smart stone named Stu. "Eureka!" he shouted. "I know just what to do." So Eureka means he's got a great idea. That's what, if you have a great idea, you say Eureka. He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. "My plan is pure genius." Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to the lake where they gathered up mud they could pile on the flat side of Rick, creating a mound that they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Then, after the rain, with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines and one colorful feather that they wrapped all around Rick to keep it together. Does anyone have a towel? So they put mud all over him till it dried, and now he's got a round side, and they're keeping it in place with the vines and a pretty feather just because it's pretty. When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold, and then, for the first time, Ricky the Rock rolled. And look how happy he is. So Bria, the ladybug, who'd been there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought, as she watched her friends play on the hill, that there's always a way if there's always a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. The end.
Okay, I hope you guys liked that story a lot. So you could see that Ricky's friends were being really kind. They never gave up trying to help him. Even when Ricky had given up on himself, they kept trying their best and trying their best to figure out how to help him roll because they wanted him to be happy. And that is being a good friend. That is being kind. That when you see someone who needs help or someone who's sad, that you go and try to help them out. Maybe you'll be able to help them like the rocks could in the story. Maybe you won't be able to, but maybe just sometimes going and letting people know that you care about them is a good way to start to make them feel better. And I love that they just kept trying no matter what. All of the rocks never gave up on Ricky. They just kept trying and kept trying. It's like I want you guys to keep trying. When things get hard, whether it's schoolwork or a sport that you play or anything, keep trying your best. Don't give up. All right, boys and girls, I'll see you later.